right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ryan Yambra. I'm with the Multnomah County Communications Office, and we're here today to talk about Preschool for All. I'm joined by Leslie Barnes, the Preschool and Early Learning Division Director, Dee Hayward, the owner of Every Step Preschool, Rachel Langford, the Early Care and Education Program Manager for Craft 3, and Jared Boakley, a Preschool for All parent. So I'm going to turn it over to Leslie to talk a little bit about the upcoming school year.
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited to share some updates about the coming school year Preschool for All. First, I want to thank Dee Howard, and she's a new preschool provider at Every Step Preschool for hosting us today. And this is a brand new space, and she's going to serve up to 40 children in this next school year. I just want to highlight that this preschool previously served children and was closed, and with our investment, we've been able to reopen and make this resource available to the community. So I just want to highlight also that was due in part to our facilities fund, which rolled out last year. Also want to thank Build Up Oregon's Rachel Langford, who will be sharing more about the Preschool for All Facilities Fund and how that is working. As a quick reminder, Preschool for All is a free, locally funded preschool program. Applications for the upcoming school year are opened last week and will be open until April 30th of 2025. All children in Multnomah County who have a parent or child in Multnomah County are eligible for preschool as long as they are 3 or 4 by September 1st of 2025. This program provides joyful, inclusive, culturally responsive, and developmentally appropriate preschool experiences for every child. Families can choose a program that works best for them, including child care centers, home-based preschools, schools, and Head Start options, including centers that are culturally responsive and offer different language-specific options. In the upcoming preschool year, we're proud to announce that Preschool for All will be serving up to 3,800 families. This is a remarkable milestone, and it means that we will have quadrupled the number of children served since the program's inception in 2022. I wanted to share an update that this morning over 1,300 families have already applied for the program, which really demonstrates this need. A few updates. I wanted to take a moment to center us on why Preschool for All matters. It fosters learning, supports working families, increases preschool availability, of course, strengthens the child care workforce and system, and creates an inclusive learning environment for all children. Most importantly, it gives families many preschool options. We're pleased to be able to serve 1,600 more children in this coming school year, bringing the total number of children up to 3,800. Last year, we served 2,225 children with 80 providers at 133 sites. It is our biggest year yet, and we are already surpassing our goals for the coming year. By expanding our reach, we are providing more choices for families and even greater opportunities for growth to all of our providers. The program has exceeded enrollment goals every year, and we're pleased to share that we are serving the families we set out to serve when the program opened in 2022, those with least access to preschool. Here's a snapshot of who we're serving. 71% of families have low incomes. 65% of children identify as Black, Indigenous, or children of color. 4% live with foster parents or legal guardians. 5% are from families experiencing homelessness. 30% speak a language other than English at home, with 61 different languages represented. The Preschool for All Family Survey conducted by our external research partners indicate that families are finding real value in the program. 97% of families are satisfied or highly satisfied with their Preschool for All experience. 99% feel welcomed at their child's school. 95% feel comfortable talking to their school leader if they have an issue or problem. 100% said that their child's teacher helps them feel comfortable in sharing about their home life. We're also excited to announce that the Black Parent Initiative will be joining the program as a family connector organization this year, joining the Immigrant and Refugee Community Organization, Latino Network, and the Native American Youth and Family Center. Family navigators at these organizations support families to apply for the application through the program and connect them with other vital community resources. Our appreciation extends to all educators who are committed to creating welcoming and developmentally appropriate learning environments for all children, regardless of income, race, disability status, or home language. As providers join the program, we are committed to working more closely with them to learn from their experiences and improve the program. Joining the program means partnering on some shared standards, like welcoming all children and creating inclusive classrooms. Providers are supported every step of the way with coaching, livable salaries to offer staff, and tools to keep every child in care. Additionally, Preschool for All will be launching a provider advisory group this fall, incorporating feedback from current and new providers to enhance the effectiveness of the program. In the upcoming school year, 128 providers, including more than 50 new providers, will be involved in the program. These providers will operate at nearly 220 locations to serve our children. This year, there are 80 pilot site providers with 54 providers who have participated in the Pathways program, which supports providers to meet the program's requirements. Provider interest in Preschool for All remains high because of several benefits. Financial support. The reimbursement is up to $24,000 for a preschool seat, fostering sustainable funding for our small businesses in the community. Build Up Oregon will speak about the PFA Facilities Fund shortly and about the support that they are providing. We also have competitive wages. Preschool assistants are paid a minimum of $21.68 per hour, and $39.23 per hour is the goal salary for lead teachers with a bachelor's degree or step 10, which equals about $6,200 a month. That's compared to the state median income for a preschool teacher at $3,000 a month. We really are committed to supporting small and diverse business owners. Over 75% of small centers and family early learning sites are led by owners or directors who identify as Black, Indigenous, or people of color. Over half of the providers are small businesses. Every provider has access to coaching, inclusion coordinators, and mental health consultants to prevent child suspension or expulsion. The program invested $8 million in 24-25 for college navigators, scholarship programs, and professional development opportunities to recruit educators in the field and to retain them. This growth is a step towards our long-term vision of achieving universal preschool by 2030. Together with state programs such as Preschool Promise and federal programs such as Head Start, we are on track to offer universal access by 2030. As a reminder, Preschool for All is funded by a personal income tax on the highest income earners in Multnomah County. We don't want to miss this opportunity to say thank you to the voters and taxpayers in Multnomah County for prioritizing children. This program is ensuring that every child, regardless of income, race, or disability status, has a fair start in school and in life. As we look at the impact of this important community commitment, less than 10% of tax filers in Multnomah County are expected to meet the income threshold to pay the PFA tax. Research indicates that every dollar spent on quality preschool returns an investment of $7 to $12 to the community, reducing inequality and strengthening the social fabric. So families can apply for Preschool for All until April 30th at 11:59 p.m. and have an option to choose up to 6 preschool programs on their application, including a variety of options: school-based, home-based, and center-based care. To learn more or to apply, please visit pfa.mulco.us. A digital press kit with photos and video footage is also available online. Thank you for your time and support in helping us achieve these milestones and working towards universal preschool education for children in our community. And now I'm going to give the podium over to Dee.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Dee Haywood. I am the proud owner of Every Step Preschool, also known as ESP. ESP is multicultural and all-inclusive preschool program. I have been in an early childhood for over 18 years. And this is the first time that I open my own center, and it's an exciting moment for me. After spending the last decade building and managing early childhood and preschool program for a nonprofit organization in Portland, I decided this year will be my year to open my own and to serve the children and family directly in my own plan. I am very lucky to have found this space. This center has been here in Northeast Portland, Rose City community for over 50 years. When the previous owner retired, she was only served small number of children before she decided to put the property up for sale. I'm grateful for the opportunity to step in to build a new program for the community. This year, every step will welcome up to 40 children. Beginning in September 2025, we will offer 20 preschool for all slots. And 2026, I will apply for more. Preschool is such a foundational time in a child's life. It helps how children learn, grow socially, and build confidence that they can carry into the kindergarten and beyond. There is nothing more rewarding than watching a child graduate from preschool and knowing that I have been a part of their learning journey and part of their family story. I have been involved with preschool for all right from the beginning. I was serving on the original task force, helping shape the program from a provider's perspective. So when I learned that every step would be part of Preschool for All this year, I was really happy. I know in my heart that I meant to do this for the rest of my career. In summer 2024, I applied for a grant through the Preschool for All Facilities Fund, Build Up Oregon grant, and I was awarded $1 million. This support changed everything. The grant made it possible for me to purchase the property and completely renovate the space. We upgraded the classroom, kitchen, bathrooms, windows, and doors, and also transformed the outdoor area and playground. Every improvement was designed with the children learning and exploration and safety in mind. What means the most to me is that I don't have to take the big loan to create this space. A small business owner like me could not make it this far. So, Preschool for All gave me the resources and support to build high-quality program, sustainable program, and now I get to focus on what matters, children and families that we serve in the community. I'm so excited to welcome this family into this bright, beautiful new space. And I'm proud to build something that's meaningful and lasting in this community. I'm committed to doing this work well and do it long term. Thank you for visiting Every Step Preschool, and thank you Preschool for All for making this all happen. Now I'll pass to Rachel.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rachel Langford, Early Care and Education Program Manager with Craft 3. The PFA Facilities Fund launched in the spring of 2024 through a public-private partnership with Multnomah County and Build Up Oregon, a collaboration of community development financial institutions selected to administer the PFA Facilities Fund. Build Up Oregon offers grants, loans, and technical assistance to early care and education providers to improve, preserve, or expand their facilities. We also work with affordable housing developers and providers to increase the number of childcare facilities co-located in affordable housing throughout Oregon with funding from the state legislature. In collaboration with Multnomah County, PFA has awarded $16.4 million in facilities funding to 43 programs since launching a year ago. Every Step Preschool, where we stand today, is a fantastic example of the success of this funding. This site had closed its doors to families, and with funding and technical support supplied by the PFA Facilities Fund through Build Up Oregon, Dee was able to acquire this building and make needed improvements so that it could reopen and serve children and families through Preschool for All. We know that conceiving of an expansion project and seeing it through is a huge undertaking for early care and education providers. Finding and financing suitable real estate and managing the construction required to meet state licensing, along with zoning and permitting requirements, is a lot to ask of professionals whose expertise and passion are caring for and educating children. Build Up Oregon is proud to partner with providers to navigate these hurdles and help them realize their expansion dreams. It's this expansion work that is required to reach universal access, and it is happening in exciting ways all over Multnomah County. Some examples of projects that have been supported by the PFA Facilities Fund include building inclusive preschool playgrounds at 5 schools in the David Douglas School District, supporting 2 new early learning centers run by culturally specific organizations, the Center for African Immigrant and Refugee Organization and the Immigrant and Refugee Community Organization received grants to open new centers. A kitchen renovation at Child's Work will allow this provider to serve meals to preschoolers. And we have 3 projects that are helping providers expand their home-based programs to center-based programs, where they will be able to serve more children in East Portland and East Multnomah County, areas where we know there is a high shortfall of early care and education seats. We have more than 60 projects in the pipeline now and look forward to working with PFA, providers, and developers in the coming years to continue building out the infrastructure that will help bring Multnomah County to universal access. To help ensure our continued progress, PFA has requested more than $17 million in fiscal year 2026 for the PFA Facilities Fund. The state legislature is also considering a $10 million in additional funding for its existing program that supports co-location of childcare with affordable housing. That funding is another important part of the constellation of support required to make these facilities successful for all of Oregon's children. We strongly support the legislature taking action this year to make this happen. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jared Bogley. I am a Preschool for All parent. We've been in the program, my child was born August 31st, so we qualified by the skin of our teeth. And he's been in it for a few years, and he's going to move on to kindergarten next year. And the impact that Preschool for All has made in our lives as a family, I don't think I can accurately state here. Our child has some developmental delays and, has speech therapy, occupational therapy. And upon getting into Sunshine Center and the Preschool for All program, it was amazing to watch him flourish with the way that care is coordinated between the county and the center. And just that alone, he's grown so much from that. And then the next thing that we really noticed happening was in our previous provider, it felt like a revolving door of providers and teachers. And since he's been at Preschool for All, the staff has been consistent and always there for him. So just having that one teacher, or there's 2 or 3 teachers, he's moved around across a few classrooms, but having those teachers there all the time, day in and day out, not really day out, but all day there, and seeing him just like love them. And every Monday morning he wakes up, he's like, is it time to go back to school? And he gets to go back to school. And he loves it. So that coordination and that consistency have been huge in just watching him grow and really come back to pretty much meeting all of his milestones now. So that's been an amazing thing to watch and experience. And then, obviously, lastly, is the cost. I mean, we are a family that I was unemployed for a period of time, got laid off, and then my wife was going back to school to become a mental health counselor. So things were going to be very tight, and previously our preschool before was more than our mortgage. Yeah. So to be able to get into this program allowed me to focus on, finding new work, which I have, and my wife has got her master's degree in mental health counseling and is starting to practice. And all this while, keeping our kid in a place that he loves, that he's happy and thriving. So, I mean, hats off to everyone here. Like it's such a critical program for our community and all of Multnomah County, and thank you to everyone who's made this happen, because it's definitely made a really tangible impact on our lives and the life of my kids. So thanks.
Thank you, Jared. Now we have time for questions. And afterwards, of course, we'll have some one-on-one opportunities if you wish. We have some folks who are listening online, so I'll be restating the question. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, Lisa.
Yeah, a question for Leslie. You can just go to the mic, that would be great. Thanks. You're probably aware that there's the potential of a ballot measure, possibly, that would get rid of the funding mechanism for Preschool for All. Is there any discussion within the program to look at making some changes to perhaps head that off in terms of mainly folks who can afford to pay for preschool under this program, get that as well as before and after care? And is there any look at saying, hey, let's tweak this a little bit to really focus on the population that can't afford it?
So two things. The chair's office will be, hosting a technical group that will be looking at the funding mechanism for Preschool for All. So that will be coming in the next year. And they'll be looking at all the things and giving her some recommendations about changes or if it should stay the same as far as how we fund the initiative. And I think we are really operating this initiative based on the Preschool for All plan. And what we heard from that plan is that not only did we need to support those families with least access, but we need to design a whole system of care that included everyone. And that's why this is universal, much like the school districts are universal and are free to the public. And so we are still going to stay on track to that goal and listen, of course, to what the findings are of the technical advisory. If they decide to make a change to the funding mechanism, of course, we'll have to make adjustments then. But right now, we're going to stick to the initial PFA plan.
Why do that when you're going to threaten perhaps funding for a lot of families, the parent who just spoke, that this could go away if, the folks that have the ability to pay, I mean, that's kind of where things are these days with the squeeze on budgets, that if you've got the ability to pay, you should pay.
Again, I think that will be on the table too, as that the technical advisory group will look at all the options. It could look at changes of programming, but I think right now we're going to implement it as it stands and wait for their feedback.
What allowed the expansion that you guys announced, and then are there at all concerns that the higher income tax could diminish at some point? We know that it's diminished for Metro. I know it's not the same tax, but are you at all concerned that some of that money goes away? And how were you able to expand the program?
So the expansion that we're doing, you're talking about the increase in slots, is basically based on the plan. So we always had a plan and how we would reach universal, and it would take us 10 years. And so we looked at an intentional plan that looked at what we need to invest. D is an example, in this place an example of why there was an investment for this kind of expansion and creating new slots. We couldn't just flip slots. We also needed to look at workforce. Who are the people working in the classrooms? How are we going to pay them? And what kinds of incentives do they need to stay? Do they have benefits? Do they have a livable wage? And so those things take time, and I'm sure people would agree that we wouldn't just want to hire any and everyone off the street. It takes time to coach and mentor them and support these small businesses so they can thrive as well. And so I think our expansion is on it really was in the plan that was designed with that preschool task force early on in 2019.
And then can you respond to the income portion of that, or are we all concerned with, maybe an economic crash or anything like that tax might diminish and put those places at risk?
Right. Yeah, and I think, again, that's the thing that the technical advisory group will look at. There'll be economists there, demographers there, there'll be business community there, all weighing in. We also don't want to forget that we want to include community, because you just saw this dad is talking about how it impacted his family. And even though we're serving 3,800 families this year, we served many more than that. And so I think those families would have something to say about Preschool for All going away, and we need to listen to them as well.
Do you have a breakdown for the 3,800 seats as to how many of them are private seats versus like that you're converting versus how many are new seats that are opening up? And do you feel like you're on pace for both of those goals? I know one of them was just 7,000 for the converted seats and one of them was 4,000 for the new seats. Are
Right.
both of those on pace? Like, do you have a breakdown?
I don't have that with me today, and we can get that back to you for sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, any other questions?
Can you talk about the selection process and how that works?
Yeah, Christina is asking about the selection process for Preschool for All. Leslie, can you?
For providers, right?
No,
Or for the fund.
kids, like how are you prioritizing? You mentioned some statistics on like how many people are low income. Are you prioritizing low income? Are you
Right.
prioritizing certain groups? How does that work?
Right, so our application system has an algorithm that's used by other systems in the United States, and it actually prioritizes within that system based on what they answer in the application. So it asks about income, it asks about language, if your child has some inclusive needs, and you get a point system, and then it sorts it also based on what site you choose. Some sites are more popular than others, and so you'll see some sites that have a lot of interest, which is why parents really need to look at making 6 choices for that, because that all sorts and that priority really impacts where you get it at.
On the prioritization, no, I know there's been so many federal challenges to DEI and to prioritizing at that very level. Like, has there been discussion in the county about, the implications for this particular program or any legal challenges you guys think?
Yeah, so our legal team looked at the way we're prioritizing families, and for example, we can't use race as a determining factor, but there are other things that we know are proxy for that in our county. So we look at income, for example, language, for example, as ways to get our priority populations.
So just to clarify, sorry, not just to make it clear, so in other words, so they are prioritized based on need essentially within the system.
right.
And need is a general, area, but primarily that is the focus.
Right, it is. And so just to talk about our prioritization a little bit. So when we did the plan, people talked about, the folks that didn't have access based on income is one example of that. But we are prioritizing that currently because we have so few slots. What we're saying though is early on, so there's such few supply, that we're going to prioritize those folks that don't have access now, so that we can build upon that as we add more slots. The 11,000 that we need in 2030, we won't need the same kind of prioritization because there'll be more choice and access in the community, and all families should be able to get a slot at that time.
For the provider advisory group, I'm just curious what the selection criteria for the providers you're going to bring to the table looks like, and also is it open to mainly just like Preschool for All providers? It's not open to like any provider in Multnomah County, that's correct?
Right, so that's exciting. So the application will be open later this month. It is open to providers that aren't in Preschool for All. We really want a diverse group of voices on that advisory, so we can hear from, the Head Start folks, the school-based folks, family child care, people that are in, people on the outside, so they can give us some feedback on maybe why they're in or out, or maybe just some other perspective that we may be missing. And so we're looking forward to that group really comprising a wide range of provider types.
Is there any specific selection criteria that you guys are going to use to pick the?
Yeah, I think we want, for example, so this is not exact, but 2 providers that aren't in Preschool for All, 3 family child care providers, 2 school-based providers, et cetera.
Can you talk about how the difference in the number of people who apply versus people who get in? What is the data there?
I mean, it's so brand new. I mean, every year we have about double the amount of applications for seats that we have. I don't expect that'll be any different this year. I mean, this morning, we saw 1,300 applications come in for 2,800 slots. So I think that gives you a sense of, we have several more weeks of the application being open, that we'll probably have a lot more.
Even with the expansion, you expect the rate of?
Yeah. I do. I mean, if the number is that we need 11,000 folks, and we know that we only have 20, it's going to be that for a while as we bring on more providers each year.